Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 PSN review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Inferno Pool, which if you've never played it before, it's a pool game. It's basically got three modes on it, 9 ball, 8 ball, and the exclusive mode, Inferno mode, which I personally think is fantastic. It's why I've put this on to do the vid basically, because it's not just another pool game. Helping options, you've got very basic stuff. You can view your controls, you can turn commentary on off, stuff like that. Ranking, you can check your ranking. It's got online, it's got local multiplayer up to 4 people, because basically the Inferno mode's 4 player, but it's also 1 player, and 1 player Inferno mode is totally different. So when you go on 1 player, you can choose to put AI on, but as I say, 1 player on your own, totally different. So I'm just going to explain this one for now. Before I go on though, there's loads of ball sets that you can unlock that don't do anything, they just look different. You can also choose the colour of the table, which I'll get onto the tables later and why I don't particularly like them. And you can choose your aiming level, so if you're no good at the game or if you've got bad eyesight like myself, you can put a guide on which basically, as you can see, just shows up where the balls are going to go. So 1 player Inferno mode is this: you've got to keep potting balls in order to live. You've got the red bar at the top of the screen, and after you're breaking, you take your shot on that, the red bar is going to start going down and the timer is going to start going up. Every time the red bar goes down, another ball gets onto your table. Once you get to 24 balls, then you lose. So you've just basically got to keep potting the balls as fast as you can to stay alive for as long as you can. And it's a really good mode and very fun and good to play. The only problem is the controls with the game. The controls are fantastic on the other modes. They are absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best pool control setups I've played. It's basically the usual stuff. You've got left stick to move, you've got the right stick to pull back and push forward to slam some power. You can use the D-pad to move your spin in that. You can lift your Q, you can do things like that. You can change the view of the table by pushing R1. You can do all sorts of stuff. The problem where the aiming comes in with this one, on the analog, it is so super sensitive. As you can see right now, it's just fleeing across, and that's as fast as it goes. You can't slow it down on the analog. To slow it down, you've got to hold L2, but when you hold L2, which I'll just quickly show you, it's super slow. It's just incredibly slow. There's no in-between, and for a mode like this you need an in-between, because there are so many times that you're trying to set up your shots quickly, but if you try too quickly with the analog, then you'll overhit and totally miss them, and if you take your time too much with the L2, then basically more and more balls are going to get in the way and it'll screw you over that way. So there needs to be an in-between for that, but at the same time, for the normal modes and the proper multiplayer modes and that, the controls are fantastic and they work really well. So speaking of, let's cut into multiplayer Inferno Pool to show you the difference. So this is basically multiplayer Inferno Pool. It changes because now you've got an opponent. You've got a timer and you can change the timer, and it's basically whoever puts the balls first wins, or whoever's got the least balls after the time limit. Now, the way you get balls on this one added to your table is via your opponent. Basically, if you push the R3 button, so that's the right analog in, just in case you don't know, because I know there's quite a few people out there who have had to explain where L3 and R3 are. You push that, and it opens up the bazooka. You then push it again once you've put some balls, and it fires them over. On the 4-player game, you can actually nominate your opponent by pushing the triangle, square, circle, X button. It basically changes to different players, so you have to view in the bottom right corner of the screen. There's basically 2 numbers, and when it's 4-player there's 4 numbers, and you push the button and a different colour highlights, so you have to just basically look at who's got the fewest balls and then screw them over and stuff like that. And the more balls you receive from other players and that, and the more you use the bazooka, it does actually decrease in size, so it gets to the point where you either can't fire balls at all, or you can only fire 1, or stuff like that. So it's just one of those, it has to be used strategically, and you just have to play the game well, and you have to just like play fast as well, which can be hard for some people, because for one, my brother sitting next to me at the moment, it took him ages to be able to play Inferno Pool because he couldn't play pool fast. Now I think it's one of the worst things I've ever done. I've managed to improve his game of pool, and it's probably going to improve it in real life as well, because he's fantastic at that and all. I always lose. Anyway, on to some 9 ball. So this is 9 ball, and it's pretty much standard rules apply. There is one thing I'll quickly mention: the Inferno mode actually has an Inferno mode. Basically, you put something like 10 balls in a row and the table lights on fire and that, and it's just really cool and it helps you out. So it's one of those things you definitely want to do. But 9-ball is standard 9-ball rules. You always have to hit the lowest ball first, but you can put any ball you want as long as you hit the lowest ball. So you can do a 1-9 combination, which is how you get break aces off the break, which is basically you slam the break, it hits the 1, it hits the 9 goes in, you win off the break. Very cool thing to do, very hard to do as well. So anyway, it is standard 9-ball, and as I say, the controls for the multiplayer and that works brilliantly. It's now just basically all I've got left to mention are the downsides of the game, which you might have already noticed. The table. The table bases, the cloths and everything are just awful. Everyone is awful. You've either got them totally scorched so that you can't actually see the highlighted ball or anything like that, because if you're looking now, you've got the blue streak coming off because that's where the blue's going. There are some tables you can't even see that at all because the scorching of the table is so dark and so bad. The grey one just basically looks as if it's been set on fire, and etc, etc. It's the type of thing that, yes, they're trying to do it characteristically because it's Inferno pools, so that's the whole point. The only problem is, when you first highlight the game, it shows a perfectly clean cloth table, so it's not the type of thing that you're going to expect when you then get the game. So it's a bit disappointing because I find it very off-putting, and there's only a couple of cloths that I can actually play on without it severely affecting my game. But I mean, with this one here, I'm struggling to see the brown now. Even though I'm pretty sure I know where it's going, I might be totally wrong. And there was that 3-9 combination ball. To be fair, I said 1-9, but there was the combination ball, the shot that you can do in 9-ball, which is pretty cool. But anyway, let's go on to some 8-ball, and I'll quickly mention the few other things that the game's got. So this is basically 8-ball, and this is the terrible grey table I was mentioning. As you can see, this is what I mean with the scorch part. It's just absolutely awful, and if you have to play shots in that bit, then it can really screw you over. Anyway, it is 8-ball, and thankfully it's American 8-ball. I absolutely hate British 8-ball. I hate the red-yellow system. I hate the rules to it. I just hate the system. Anyway, something that has just happened that I actually wanted to explain now. The point system, you can get multi-balls and things like that if you put 2 balls together. If you do combo shots where a ball off another ball, or where you have to go off a cushion and that, it just gives you points. It's what the trophy system is, that you have to basically do well and get points and that. I think one of the trophies is for 5,000 points, and it's just one of those things. Basically, it's got trophies. If you like trophies, then they're decent, because it's the type of thing that I like doing on pool anyway, so it's kind of cool to finally be rewarded for it. But at the same time, it's the type of thing that, well, I could live without them. But anyway, there isn't pretty much anything left to mention other than that I think it's a fantastic pool game. If you like pool games, it is definitely worth a punt. I haven't played Hustle Kings yet, purely because there's no demo for it or anything, but it's one of those I do definitely want it, so if they hopefully release a demo soon, I'll get it and then just basically check back to my channel and view the vid on that, and I'll mention if I like it more or less than this one, or etc, etc. And that's probably the best shot I've ever made in my life on pool, so I'm glad I got it on camera. So I think that was a good time to leave. So there we go then, that's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the WiiWare, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.